So I want to just share with you my hospital experience so you guys can see what I went through and how much of a burden it was on my life and how I've been able to pick myself up. So just, if you'd like to just flick through the slides. So this is me, nearly at my worst, but they pretty much hooked me up to a machine and they were drawing blood out of my body and then pumping it back in, trying to clean my blood.
Hey guys, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at HighCarbHealth, and also click on the green H so you get to see exactly what I eat and what I get up to every single day. Don't forget to also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also please make sure you hit the bell icon so that you get all our notifications for our video uploads.
I'd like us to travel to New Zealand a little bit through the eyes of Shamiz Kachwala and take us on the journey of what it means to heal through plants and the wisdom that they encapsulate. Welcoming you, Shamiz. Can we welcome Shamiz, please?
So thank you, Mamta, for inviting me here. It's been an honor to speak here and to inspire all you guys today, because I believe I have a really interesting story, and hopefully it inspires you today. So again, please focus your attention on the screens, because I want to basically narrate my story with a Draw My Life video about how I was able to pick myself up after a fall. My journey to a life after colitis, Part 1, Japan. It all started 7 years ago when I was teaching English to high school students in Japan.
While I was there, I slowly started to notice that my digestion was poor. I had never really thought about my number 2s before. It's one of those things you take for granted. You put food in and it just comes out. But when I started to see blood in my stools, I got worried. So I visited my local GP and he said, "Let's get you checked." So what that really means is they put a camera up your bum to see what's wrong. They call it a colonoscopy, and that was when I was diagnosed with mild colitis. So I did what anyone would do. I googled it. What is colitis? Colitis is an inflammatory bowel disease. It's like your body refuses to digest anything that you eat. Your colon is so inflamed that food just passes straight through. It's fine though. Mine was just a mild case. I wasn't too worried about it. So they told me I'd have to stay in hospital for a week, just for observation. So I scooted home, packed a few clothes, and came back to the hospital. That first week came and went, and it turned out I wasn't going to need those clothes, as I was going to spend the next 6 weeks in a hospital gown. They put me on antibiotics straight away, hoping it would reduce the inflammation. I was hopeful. They fed me typical Japanese hospital food, rice, raw egg, and fish. This was supposedly easy to digest and good food for colitis patients. I trusted in the doctors and did everything I was told. When I arrived in hospital, I was going to the toilet 3 to 4 times a day. But after just 2 weeks in hospital, doing everything I was told, things got worse. I was now going 7 to 8 times a day. So they decided to up my dosage of antibiotics and bring in the big guns, steroids. On top of that, they stopped feeding me. This was to give the medication a chance to work. Spoiler alert, the meds didn't work. Things had gone seriously downhill. I was going to the toilet 30 times a day and losing lots of blood. So I had to call my parents. They were on the next plane out from New Zealand and arrived just in time. I was bedridden. I could barely get myself to the toilet. I was getting painful cramps and needed drugs to sleep. It had been 2 weeks now without food, getting just 1,600 calories a day from a catheter in my neck. I was losing weight rapidly, already shedding 30 kilos. I had another colonoscopy, and my mild colitis had become severe ulcerative colitis. I was very weak and couldn't make decisions for myself anymore. I was 100% reliant on my parents and the doctors. The drugs weren't working, so they suggested surgery. It's called a colectomy. They wanted to cut the inflamed section of my colon out. I was so exhausted and just wanted to get better. The doctors said that surgery could help me.
My mum was quite angry, and thankfully she refused surgery. As an alternative, they put me on immunosuppressant drugs, serious stuff, It's the drugs they give to organ transplant patients so their body won't reject the new organ. It basically shuts down your immune system.
The organ transplants drugs were very strong. They didn't fix the inflammation, but they did reduce the number of times I was going to the toilet. With this small bit of improvement, Mum had a chance to do some research. She came across a book called Self-Healing Colitis and Crohn's. She ordered the book and it arrived in a couple of days. The book taught us a lot about the colon and how diet was the key to healing the inflamed colon. This was the first time we had ever linked food to UC. It was nothing short of revolutionary. The author, Dr. David Klein, had ulcerative colitis for 8 years before discovering that a whole foods, plant-based diet was the key to reversing this disease. We got in contact with him over email, and he said to stop all the medication immediately. The doctors wouldn't have allowed it, so I was pretending to take them, but secretly throwing them away. The doctors allowed me to start eating foods again. We insisted on a diet of only fruits and vegetables. We bought a blender, and Mum was making me fruit smoothies and juices. Just after 1 week on the diet, my colonoscopy showed no ulcers and the doctors were shocked. They claimed that the meds had finally started working and discharged me with a suitcase full of more drugs to take home.
Little did they know that I hadn't taken a single pill for a week, and I would never take a single pill ever again. So I want to just share with you my hospital experience so you guys can see what I went through and how much of a burden it was on my life and how I've been able to pick myself up. So just, if you'd like to just flick through the slides. So this is me, nearly at my worst, but they pretty much hooked me up to a machine and they were drawing blood out of my body and then pumping it back in, trying to clean my blood. This was in Japan, by the way. So yeah, this is me giving a thumbs up because I was feeling a lot better after starting the diet. And yeah, 30 kilos of me. So I was down to 41 kilos, I think. So these were the nurses. They were a fantastic bunch. I loved them a lot. And they gave me a cake which was full of dairy and full of all sorts of bad stuff. And I looked at it and I was like, no, thank you. So this was me out of the hospital when we went back home to my place. And you can see how thin I was. And this is me now. So, so I've really been able to transform my life. I can ride 100-kilometer bike rides, no sweat nowadays. I'm actually training for a half marathon next week, a couple of weeks. And this is the power of plants. Okay, this is what a plant-based diet will do. And what my purpose in life is now is to try and help other people do exactly the same thing as what I'm doing now. I love this quote because it says, you know, sometimes you fall down because there's something down there that you're supposed to find. And a plant-based diet was that for me. Thank you very much.
Inspired, humbled, speechless. Thank you. That presentation was worth fighting for. Did you notice in his presentation, he revolutionized love? Did you see? Did any of you know? Relovution. So a revolution with a healing through love. Shamiz, incredible journey. Thank you. And our very special guest from New Zealand, Shamiz Kachwala. We are honored and humbled to honor you with this award presented to you in acknowledgement of your journey.
This channel is about helping people who suffer from colitis. Drop me a comment below about your colitis experience and go to my website High Carb Health for more info and a free 30-minute consultation. And don't forget, there most certainly is a life after colitis.